All right, so are you ready to dive into something a little bit different today? We're tackling Black Doves, Netflix's new spy thriller.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's gotten some buzz, and we're going to unpack why.
Awesome.
We've got articles and reviews,
Oh, I
but
know.
this one, Keira Knightley's Black Doves, a Christmas spy thriller like no other,
Wow.
really sets the stage. Christmas and espionage. I'm intrigued. What do you think?
Well, it's definitely a unique premise.
Right.
It makes you wonder if the creators are going for like a darkly comedic tone or like trying to completely kind of subvert those typical holiday tropes.
Yeah, which way are they going with this?
Right.
So for those who haven't seen it yet, the basic setup is we have Helen Webb, a seasoned spy.
Mm-hmm.
Her world is shattered when your secret lover is murdered.
Oh, wow.
But this isn't just a personal tragedy. It kicks off this mission of revenge that uncovers a conspiracy, like a vast conspiracy with some serious global implications.
Oh, tense. Okay.
What's your take on this? Does this blend of genres work?
Well, it's a risky move for sure. I mean, the Christmas setting could feel gimmicky
Yeah?
if it's not handled carefully. But from what I've read, the show uses the holiday season to create this sense of heightened tension and irony.
Oh, okay.
The contrast between like the warmth and joy of Christmas,
Yeah.
and then you have the coldness and brutality of espionage. It's potent.
It is.
It's like they're saying, hey, look, even during like the most wonderful time of year, darkness lurks beneath the surface.
Exactly. Okay, speaking of darkness, let's talk about Keira Knightley.
Okay.
This role feels like a departure
Right.
from her usual period dramas.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Smart career move for her.
Well, it's a bold choice. I mean, we're used to seeing her in these corsets and ball gowns, not like wielding weapons and hand-to-hand combat.
Right. Yeah.
But there's something interesting. There's like a through line in her career choices.
Okay.
I've noticed she often plays characters who are trapped by societal expectations, these women yearning for something more. Helen Webb kind of fits that mold,
Okay.
but with like an added layer of physicality and danger.
You're right. I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah.
It's like she's taken that familiar theme of constraint and rebellion
Mm-hmm.
and like pushing it to the extreme. But she's not alone in this dangerous game. We've
Right.
got Ben Whishaw playing Sam Young,
Yes.
her fellow spy.
Hmm.
And their relationship is described as having this soulfulness and humor.
I love that.
Do you think the show is setting them up as a romantic pairing, or is there something more complex going on?
Well, that's one of the things that makes Black Dove stand out. It avoids like those predictable romantic tropes
Okay.
that we usually see in spy thrillers. Instead, it presents us with this deep platonic friendship, one that's forged in the fires of shared danger, and they have a profound understanding of each other's complexities.
Oh, wow.
It's really refreshing to see a show that values those kinds of connections.
It really is.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, will their bond be strong enough to withstand the pressures of their mission and the secrets they're forced to keep? Which brings us to another intriguing aspect of the show. Its inspiration. Apparently the creator, Joe Barton, was really moved by a real-life advice column about a woman grieving a secret lover.
Wow, that's intense.
That adds a whole other layer to this story. What do you think?
Absolutely. It grounds the show in a sense of raw human emotion. This isn't just a story about spies and gadgets. It's about like the very real pain of loss and betrayal and the complexities of these hidden lives.
It's a powerful concept. And it makes me even more curious about how the show tackles the psychological aspects of living a double life.
Right.
But before we get too deep into that, let's talk about the team behind the camera. We've got Alex Gabassi, known for his work on The Crown, and Lisa Gunning, who directed episodes of The Power. What do their directing styles bring to Black Doves?
They both have a reputation for nuanced storytelling and strong character development. Gabassi is known for his stunning visuals, and Gunning has this knack for capturing raw emotional performances. I think we can expect Black Doves to be visually captivating and emotionally resonant.
I mean, I'm already sold. And with a cast that includes Sarah Lancashire, Tracy Ullman, and Omari Douglas, we're talking about a serious ensemble of talent here.
Absolutely.
No wonder Netflix has already greenlit season 2.
Yeah.
They must be confident they have a hit on their hands.
It seems like they have all the right ingredients for a compelling series.
Yeah.
A unique premise, a stellar cast, experienced directors, and this blend of genres that promises to keep us on the edge of our seats.
So we've got Keira Knightley embracing her inner action hero.
Love it.
A complex and intriguing relationship that goes beyond romance. A plot inspired by real-life grief and hidden lives, all set against the backdrop of Christmas. Where do we go from here? What are some of the key questions or themes that you think we should explore further?
Well, for starters, I'm really interested in how the show navigates the moral complexities of espionage. Like, is it possible to be a good person in a profession that often demands deceit and violence?
That's a great question. And how does the Christmas setting amplify those moral dilemmas?
Right.
Does it make the characters' choices feel more consequential?
Exactly. And then there's the psychological aspect.
Yeah.
How do these characters cope with the constant pressure of living a double life?
Mm-hmm.
What toll does it take on their relationships and their sense of self?
Oh, these are all fantastic points. And I'm curious about how the show's creators use visual storytelling and cinematography to enhance the mood and themes.
Yes.
That's another area I think that Black Doves excels. But let's save that discussion for later. Terrell, let's dive into the critical response to the show. What are the reviewers saying about this unique blend of holiday spirit and espionage?
Okay, let's do it. Welcome back. Let's dive into what the critics are saying about Black Doves.
Okay.
It seems like the response has been pretty positive, but there are some points of contention.
Okay, so give me the good stuff first.
Yeah.
What are the reviewers loving?
Well, a lot of them are praising Keira Knightley's performance.
Okay.
They're highlighting her ability to portray both vulnerability and strength.
Yeah.
There's this recognition that she's doing something different,
Mm-hmm.
and it's paying off.
Yeah, that tracks with what we were saying.
Right.
It seems like she's really pushing herself as an actor,
Yeah.
taking on a role that demands both physicality and emotional depth.
Mm.
What else are the critics picking up on?
They're also appreciating how the show really dives into those deeper themes,
Yeah.
like grief and moral ambiguity. It's adding a layer of complexity to what could have been a pretty straightforward spy thriller.
Yeah, I'm sensing a pattern here. Black Dove seems to be defying expectations at every turn.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just giving us the usual action and explosions, it's making us think. It's making us feel. Have any of the critics addressed the pacing? I'm curious if they found it too slow, given that the show is really focusing on character development.
That's a potential pitfall for sure.
Yeah.
But actually, most reviewers seem to be on board with the slower burn approach.
Interesting.
They're noting that it allows for a more suspenseful buildup and a deeper exploration of the characters' inner lives.
Oh, that's encouraging to hear.
Yeah.
It sounds like the creators are taking their time to craft a story that's both intelligent and emotionally resonant. It's not just about getting to the next action sequence. It's
Wow.
about understanding what drives these characters and what they're willing to sacrifice. But what about the Christmas setting? Have any of the critics found it distracting or jarring?
That's where some of the more interesting debates are happening.
All right.
While some praise the atmospheric visuals
Mm.
and the irony of setting a spy thriller during the holidays,
Right.
others are questioning whether the Christmas element is fully integrated into the narrative.
Oh, okay. I can see both sides of that argument. On the one hand, it's visually striking and thematically intriguing.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if it's just a superficial backdrop, it could feel like a missed opportunity. What would you have liked to see them do with the Christmas setting?
I think there was potential there to really explore how the holidays themes, hope, redemption, family, could be more deeply woven into the characters' journeys. Imagine Helen wrestling with her conscience while she's stringing lights on a Christmas tree.
Oh, I like that.
Or Sam, struggling to reconcile his actions with the spirit of peace and goodwill.
That's a fantastic point. It could add a whole other layer of meaning and emotional resonance to the story.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about the acting, the pacing, the Christmas setting, and those deeper themes.
Yeah.
What other aspects of the show are generating buzz?
Well, one of the most talked about elements is the dynamic between Helen and Sam.
Yeah.
Their relationship is definitely a major point of discussion.
Yeah, it stood out to me as well. It's not often that you see a spy thriller centered around a platonic friendship. What are the critics saying about that decision?
The response is mixed, as you might expect. Some are applauding the show for presenting a nuanced portrayal of friendship and loyalty,
Yeah.
in this high-stakes world.
Right.
They argue that it adds a layer of emotional depth that's often missing from action-heavy genres.
I see that. It's a refreshing change of pace, especially in a genre that often relies on romantic tension to drive the plot. What are the critics who aren't so keen on that platonic relationship saying?
While some feel like the show is missing an opportunity to explore the complexities of romantic love within the context of espionage,
Okay.
they argue that a well-developed romantic subplot could add another layer of tension and emotional stakes.
That's a very point. I mean, After all, forbidden romance and the dangers of falling for the wrong person are classic tropes in spy stories.
Right.
But I also appreciate that Black Doves is subverting those tropes
Yeah.
and showing us that a deep, meaningful connection can exist between two people without it being romantic. It speaks to the show's overall theme of challenging expectations.
Absolutely. And it makes you wonder how the show's portrayal of relationships will resonate with viewers.
Right.
Will they embrace this unconventional approach?
Yeah.
Or will they yearn for a more traditional love story?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the audience responds. I think it could spark some really fascinating conversations about the different forms that love and connection can take. Speaking of sparking conversations, let's talk about another aspect of the show that's been generating buzz. The ending.
Oh, yes.
Without giving anything away, what can you tell us about how the critics have reacted to the show's conclusion?
Let's just say that the ending of Black Doves is not for the faint of heart.
Oh, intriguing.
It's been described as bold, divisive, and perhaps even a bit too bleak for some viewers.
Oh, I love that. I'm always drawn to stories that don't shy away from difficult or uncomfortable truths. What are some of the specific criticisms that reviewers have raised about the ending?
Well, some feel like it was rushed or unresolved, while others found it too dark or depressing, especially considering the show's Christmas setting.
Yeah, I see that.
But there are also those who praise the ending
Okay.
for its boldness, its willingness to subvert expectations, and its thought-provoking exploration of the consequences of choices made in the shadowy world of espionage.
It sounds like the ending is a bit of a Rorschach test for viewers. It reflects their own views on hope, redemption, and the possibility of finding peace in a world marked by violence and deceit. It's almost as if the creators are challenging us to confront our own beliefs about what constitutes a satisfying ending.
You're right. It doesn't offer easy answers or neat resolutions. It leaves us with lingering questions and a sense of unease that's both unsettling and compelling.
Yeah.
It's the kind of ending that stays with you long after the credits roll, prompting you to re-examine everything that came before it.
That's the mark of a truly powerful story. So we've talked about the acting, the pacing, the Christmas setting, the relationships, and the divisive ending. I think it's time to shift our focus to what might be the most compelling aspect of Black Doves: its portrayal of the world of espionage. What sets this show apart from other spy thrillers in terms of how it depicts the inner workings of spy organizations and the moral dilemmas faced by agents?
One of the things that makes Black Dove so intriguing is its willingness to delve into the gray areas of espionage.
Yeah.
It doesn't present us with clear-cut heroes and villains.
Oh, okay.
Instead, it shows us that everyone is operating in a world of moral compromise, where the lines between right and wrong are constantly blurred.
That's fascinating. So it's not a simple case of good guys versus bad guys.
No.
These characters are forced to make difficult choices.
Right.
Choices that often have unintended consequences. It sounds like the show is exploring the human cost of espionage,
Yeah.
the toll it takes on the soul. What are some of the specific ways in which Black Doves explores those moral complexities?
Well, for starters, it doesn't shy away from depicting the often ruthless methods employed by spy organizations. We see characters engaging in surveillance, manipulation, and even violence
Right.
in the name of national security.
Yeah.
But the show doesn't glorify these actions.
Right.
Instead, it forces us to confront the ethical implications of operating in a world where the ends justify the means.
That's a powerful concept. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of spy stories. The gadgets, the car chases, the double crosses. But Black Doves seems to be asking a deeper question. What happens to our humanity when we're constantly forced to compromise our values?
Exactly. And it's not just the actions themselves that are morally ambiguous, it's the motivations behind them.
Oh, okay.
The show suggests that even those who believe they are working for the greater good can be corrupted by power and the seductive allure of secrecy.
That's a chilling thought.
Yep.
It makes you wonder who you can trust in this world, especially when everyone seems to be hiding something. How does the show handle the psychological impact of living a double life?
Oh, wow.
These characters are constantly lying, deceiving, and compartmentalizing their emotions.
Yay.
What toll does that take on their psyches?
That's another area where Black Doves excels.
Okay.
It doesn't just focus on the external action, it also explores the internal turmoil that these characters experience. We see them struggling with guilt, paranoia, and a profound sense of isolation.
It sounds like the show is taking a very realistic approach to portraying the psychological effects of espionage. It's not just about being a smooth operator who can blend in and get the job done.
Right.
It's about the emotional and mental sacrifices that are required to maintain that facade.
Absolutely. And it's those internal struggles that make the characters so compelling.
Hmm.
We see them grappling with their consciences,
Yeah.
questioning their loyalties, and trying to hold on to some semblance of humanity in a world that often feels dehumanizing.
It's a testament to the show's writers and directors that they're able to balance the external action and intrigue with these nuanced explorations of the characters' inner lives. It's what elevates Black Doves above your typical spy thriller.
You're right. It's a show that operates on multiple levels, engaging both our minds and our hearts. It's thrilling, suspenseful, and thought-provoking all at the same time.
Okay, so we've established that Black Doves is taking a more nuanced and psychologically driven approach to espionage than we're used to seeing. But what about the technical aspects of the show? How does it handle the action sequences, the spycraft, and the overall visual style?
Well, from what I've gathered, the show strikes a balance between gritty realism and stylized elegance.
Okay.
The action sequences, while not as frequent or explosive as in some spy films,
Right.
are effectively staged
Okay.
and grounded in a sense of plausibility.
I've read similar things in some of the reviews. It sounds like the showrunners are more interested in showcasing the strategic thinking and calculated risks involved in espionage
Yep.
rather than relying on over-the-top stunts and special effects.
Exactly. The emphasis seems to be on creating a sense of tension and suspense,
Hmm.
rather than pure adrenaline-fueled spectacle.
Yeah.
And the cinematography is stunning. The show uses these rich color palettes, evocative lighting, and strategic use of shadows to create a world that feels both beautiful and dangerous.
Oh, I love that. It's like the visuals are reflecting the duality of the story itself,
Yeah.
the interplay between light and darkness, truth and deception.
You're picking up on exactly what the creators are doing.
Yeah.
They're using every element of the filmmaking process to tell this story, from the performances to the cinematography to the sound design. It's a truly immersive experience.
And we haven't even touched on how they're using the Christmas setting to enhance the visual storytelling.
Right.
The contrast between the warm, festive imagery and the cold, calculating world of espionage is a masterclass in visual irony.
It's a brilliant choice.
Yeah.
It adds a layer of visual richness and complexity that you don't often see in spy thrillers.
It's like they're saying, look, even amidst the twinkling lights and the carols, there's this dark undercurrent running through this story. Okay, so we've covered the technical aspects, the moral complexities, the psychological depth, and the stunning visuals. I think it's time to address the elephant in the room, the aspect of Black Doves that has perhaps generated the most discussion and debate.
The ending. What can you tell us about the show's conclusion without giving anything away?
Let's just say that the ending of Black Doves is not for the faint of heart. It's bold, it's unconventional, and it's likely to leave viewers with more questions than answers.
Ooh, I love that. I'm always drawn to stories that don't tie everything up in a neat little bow. What are some of the key themes or ideas that the ending explores?
Well, without getting into specifics, I can say that the ending grapples with the consequences of choices made in the shadowy world of espionage. It asks us to consider the nature of forgiveness, redemption, and the possibility of finding peace after experiencing profound loss and betrayal.
Those are heavy themes, especially considering the show's Christmas setting.
It's like the creators are saying, look, even during the most wonderful time of year, life can be messy, complicated, and full of moral ambiguity.
You're right, Black Doves doesn't shy away from the darkness that exists even amidst the festive cheer. It forces us to confront the harsh realities of a world where secrets have a price, and where the pursuit of truth can lead to both triumph and tragedy.
It sounds like the ending is a fitting culmination of everything that came before it. It's a bold, thought-provoking, and ultimately unforgettable conclusion to a story that challenges our expectations of both the spy genre and the traditional Christmas narrative.
Exactly. Black Doves is not just a show, it's an experience. It's a journey into the heart of darkness, a meditation on the human condition, and a reminder that even in the bleakest of circumstances, there's always a glimmer of hope.
Okay, I'm officially hooked. But before we get too caught up in the emotional weight of the ending, let's take a step back and consider the show's overall impact. What do you think Black Doves has to say about our contemporary world? A world that often feels equally shadowy and uncertain.
That's a great question. I think Black Doves speaks to a lot of the anxieties and uncertainties that we're all facing right now. It's a show about the erosion of trust, the blurring of moral boundaries,
Right.
and the struggle to find meaning in a world that often feels chaotic and unpredictable.
I see that. It's like the show is holding up a mirror to our own society, forcing us to confront the dark underbelly of our own systems and institutions. It's a reminder that the line between good and evil isn't always clear-cut, and that even those who believe they're operating with the best intentions can be complicit in wrongdoing.
You're right. Black Doves is a show that asks tough questions, questions that we might not always want to answer, but it's in those uncomfortable spaces, in those gray areas, that we often find the most profound truths.
So it's not just a spy thriller.
No.
It's a commentary on the state of the world,
Right.
a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and the seductive allure of secrecy.
Exactly. And it's also a story about resilience,
Yeah.
about the human capacity for hope and redemption,
Yeah.
even in the face of overwhelming darkness.
That's a message that we all need to hear right now.
Amen.
Okay, I think we've covered just about every aspect of Black Doves. The acting, the directing, the writing, the themes, the ending. It's a truly multifaceted show that demands to be analyzed and discussed.
You're absolutely right. And I think we've only just scratched the surface. There's so much more to unpack, so many layers to peel back.
And that's what makes it so exciting. Black Doves is a show that will stay with you long after you've finished watching it. It's a show that will spark conversations, challenge your beliefs, and make you think about the world in a whole new way.
I couldn't agree more. So if you're looking for a show that will both entertain and enlighten you, a show that will push you outside of your comfort zone and make you question everything you thought you knew, then Black Doves is definitely worth checking out.
I'm already recommending it to everyone I know. But before we officially wrap up our deep dive into this incredible show,
Okay.
there's one more question I want to ask you. It's a question that's been lingering in the back of my mind throughout this entire discussion.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's the question?
With everything we've discussed, with all the darkness, the betrayal, the moral ambiguity, do you think there's a place for hope in the world of Black Doves? Or is that just a naive fantasy?
That's a profound question and one that deserves careful consideration. I think the answer, as with most things in life, is complex and nuanced.
You know, it's interesting you say that because one of the things that struck me about Black Doves
Yeah,
is that even with all the darkness and moral compromise,
right.
there are these glimmers of hope that keep peeking through.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It would be easy for the show to succumb to cynicism
Right.
and just kind of paint a bleak picture of a world where hope is just an illusion,
Right.
but it doesn't.
It really doesn't. There are moments of genuine connection,
Yes.
of sacrifice, of characters choosing to do what's right even when it comes at a personal cost.
Mm.
Those moments, however fleeting, suggest that even in the darkest of corners, the human spirit can shine through.
And maybe that's the ultimate message of Black Doves. It's not a show that offers easy answers or guarantees of happy endings,
Right.
but it suggests that even in a world that often feels hopeless, even when we're surrounded by shadows and deceit, the possibility of redemption, the capacity for love and compassion remains.
That's a powerful message, especially during a season that's so often associated with hope and renewal.
Right.
It's like the show is saying, look, even amidst the complexities and challenges of the world,
Yeah.
there's still reason to believe in something better, to strive for something more.
And it's not just a message, it's woven into the very fabric of the show. It's in the way the characters interact with each other, in the choices they make, in the sacrifices they're willing to endure.
You're right. It's not a show that hits you over the head with its message.
No.
It's subtle. It's nuanced.
Right.
And it invites you to kind of engage with it on a deeper level.
And that's what makes it so resonant. It's a show that stays with you.
Yeah.
It prompts you to reflect on your own values and beliefs, and to consider how you might navigate the complexities of a world that's rarely black and white.
I think one of the things Black Doves does so brilliantly is that it challenges us to reevaluate our own definitions of hope and redemption.
I completely agree. We're so used to seeing stories where good triumphs over evil,
Right.
where the heroes ride off into the sunset,
Yeah.
leaving all the darkness behind. But Black Doves offers a more realistic and perhaps more profound perspective.
Yeah, it suggests that redemption isn't always about grand gestures or dramatic transformations.
Right.
Sometimes it's about small acts of kindness, choosing to do what's right even when it's difficult,
Right.
finding a way to live with the consequences of our choices.
And it's in those small moments, those quiet acts of defiance against the darkness, that we see the true potential of the human spirit.
We see that hope is not a passive state of waiting for something good to happen. It's an active choice.
Yes.
A decision to keep believing,
Mm.
to keep fighting for a better future, even when the odds are stacked against us.
Absolutely.
Well said. You know, I think we've come full circle in our deep dive into Black Doves.
Mhm.
We started by questioning whether the show's unique blend of Christmas cheer and spycraft could work.
Right.
And now we're talking about the enduring power of hope and redemption in a world that often feels shrouded in darkness.
It's been quite a journey. And I think Black Doves offers a valuable reminder that even in the midst of uncertainty and turmoil,
Mhm.
there's always something worth fighting for, something worth believing in.
That's a message that I think we all need to hear right now.
I agree.
I'm leaving this deep dive feeling a little bit more hopeful, a
Yeah.
little bit more inspired to make a difference in the world, however small.
As am I. And I think that's the power of a truly great story. It can challenge us, it
Mhm.
can move us,
Yeah?
and it can ultimately leave us feeling more connected to ourselves and to each other.
Well, on that note, I want to thank you for sharing your insights
Oh, of course.
and for guiding us through this complex and thought-provoking world.
The pleasure was all mine.
And to all our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Black Doves. We hope you found it as engaging and thought-provoking as we did. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep those hearts and minds open to the possibility of something more.